Today's video is brought to you by KaseyGolden.com. We're talking stickers, prints, enamel pins, and more. Get my merch at KaseyGolden.com. In today's video, we're going to be creating using these Bambino Kredki Polish clay crayons. That's right, these crayons aren't your ordinary crayons. Instead of using wax, they actually use clay. So I'm super interested and excited to try these. They were sent to me by Tola Otter, a viewer of my Twitch stream, sent to me to my P.O. box. I am super excited that you guys can send me these art supplies from across the world that I can try. So without further ado, I really want to try them. I'm talking too much. Let's do it. So they slip out the side here. Ooh. We've got 36 colors. Oh my gosh, they are super tiny. I'm a little concerned about my big fat sausage fingers holding them, but we'll figure it out. Oh my gosh, they're so tiny. Oh my goodness, look at them. They're very interesting to feel. They almost feel like, I don't know, a wax and wood combined together. It's very interesting. Oh my God, look at these earthy colors. We've got those greens, amazing. Wow, lots of blues. These colors look amazing and I'm super excited to swatch them. That's right, you know we're gonna swatch them. First impressions with these crayons, they are very interesting. It's almost kind of like a combination of the classic children's wax crayon combined with colored pencils. They're pretty dang smooth. The colors are incredibly vibrant. I love how earthy yet colorful and just saturated these colors are, especially compared to your classic crayon. Like I said, very much colored pencil vibes. I'm super excited to get creating with them, so let's get into it. Hold on, I did a really quick blending test and oh my goodness, it was a joy to work with. Wow, okay, let's get into it. I was so excited to try these, I guess what you can say, crayons. I really wasn't sure what to expect. They sort of felt like colored pencils, but they were called, I guess, crayons. To be honest, they felt a little more like colored pencils than crayons. They didn't feel waxy, but they also didn't feel like colored pencils. They were very confusing. So going into these doodles, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I also kind of expected crayons. Have I said that enough? So I jumped into a few doodles just to get the hang of this art supply, and it really made me feel like these are exactly just kind of like colored pencils. When I work with colored pencils, honestly, I like to work with silly and simple, very colorful doodles. I don't like to create really finished pieces like I do with my watercolor when I work with pencils, and same with the crayons. Even though I have done quite a few finished crayon pieces, I think in the end, I just like to complete these like really silly and simple, colorful character doodles. So even though I approached this piece of paper as if it were a test, I just wanted to practice with a few doodles with these pencils or crayons. In the end, I think this is exactly how I would like to work with them. This was supposed to be a warm-up, but I really enjoyed working with these. So lately, or forever, I've been obsessed with doodling cats. If I don't know what to draw, I doodle silly cats. So I doodled a few things with a pencil just to know what I was getting into, and I went for it. I chose a different color palette for each of these cat doodles, and I just kind of, got a feel for them. I definitely feel like they are nothing like colored pencils or like crayons. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the past when I work with colored pencils or crayons, I get a piece of tape and pick up the sort of dusting or just little pieces that don't attach themselves to the paper paper. Usually this is fine. It leaves all of the pigment to the piece of paper and it just picks up the chunks that don't connect with the paper. However, with this art supply, I did notice that when I put the tape to the paper where there was color, it really sort of lifted or removed color from the paper. So that was really disappointing, just because I do find that colored pencils and especially crayons are the messiest art supply I have ever dealt with. They leave all of these little chunks on your table and you're left with the most toxic waste. They can connect or get stuck to any piece of paper. They will ruin everything. They're very intense. I don't like them. I love crayons, but they're very stressful to work with. So for these doodles, like I said, I chose a sort of color palette for each one, went with it. And my favorite was actually the piece with the cat with the paint tube. I have a paint tube with a rainbow of color coming out of it, and I decided that with how colorful the paint tube was, I thought it would be really interesting to just outline the cat with black, leave everything including the tube white, and then add a few shades here and there with gray. And I thought that was really cool. The focus was the paint being super colorful. We have line work for our cat and paint. I really enjoyed that, so that is what I ran with for our next doodle. Interesting to say the least. I felt like that black just went down so dark and solid and nice, and I really enjoyed the way that the black was so different than the colors. I don't know if it's just the mood I'm in, contrasting color with black and white, but I thought it would be really interesting to create this really weird fairy-like cat creature surrounded by a fairy circle of mushrooms, and there's goop just flying all around it. There's goop coming off of the cat. And next to this cat is a baby cat, or I guess there's a word for that, kitten. I don't know what's happening in this illustration. Maybe the cat reproduces by going in this fairy circle of mushrooms, and I don't know, magic happens. Next thing you know, a baby is born. I'm not going to go into the specifics of reproduction, but next thing you know, we have this little bean of a naked cat. These are hairless cats, and they have wings, and they're surrounded by mushrooms, and there's ink, and there's goop. And I thought this was just a really interesting and fun illustration to work on. I think I just really enjoy making these fun and simple doodles with colored pencils especially. The first set of illustrations was just so much fun for me. I just love working with a very flat and solid art supply that can go down in a very solid state. Very colorful. I just love the color palette of these. I don't even know what to call them. I guess these are crayons. They just felt more like colored pencils because they are made out of clay. Super interesting. Thank you so much to Tola Otter for sending me this art supply. It's so much fun to try art supplies, especially that I have absolutely no access to from different countries. So a huge thank you. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to try these new and interesting art supplies. I didn't even know they existed. And look at this cute and weird sort of fairy cat eye. Oh wow, the eyes especially really freaked me out, but you know what? It's cute in its own way. Also, look at the way these crayons sharpened. Really interesting, so colorful. I love it. And there it is. Once again, thank you so much to everyone who visit to my website, KaseyGolden.com. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, and thank you so much for watching this video. Also, a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting me every month. You guys are the best. If you want early access to these videos, coloring pages, live streams, and more, check out my Patreon by clicking the link in the description. Thank you guys all so much for the support. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!